It was a golden afternoon. The sun hung low, draping the playground in a soft orange glow. The air carried the sweet scent of freshly cut grass, mixed with the faint aroma of barbecue drifting from backyards. The sound of children's laughter filled the neighborhood, bouncing off the metal slide, the creaking swings, and the hollow thud of a soccer ball against the fence. It was the kind of sound that warms even the hardest heart. But not hers. Karen. Everyone in the community knew her name. She marched across the pavement with purpose, every step echoing like a gavel. Her spotless white sneakers tapped against the ground, her pastel polo tucked neatly into pressed slacks, and oversized sunglasses perched on her head like a crown she never took off. She carried a folder tucked under one arm as if she were delivering a court ruling. Her voice sliced through the joy. Sharp, loud, commanding. Your kids need to leave. Now. The laughter died instantly. The playground fell into silence except for the slow creak of a swing rocking to a stop. Parents froze mid-conversation. A mother dropped the water bottle in her hand, its clatter loud in the sudden stillness. A boy clutched his soccer ball tighter, eyes wide. What? A father asked, rising slowly from the bench where he had been watching. Karen didn't hesitate. The playground is for residents only. Your children don't belong here. Murmurs rippled through the parents' confusion, shock, frustration. We are residents, a mother whispered, clutching her daughter's hand. Karen's lips curled into a tight smile. Then maybe you should read the bylaws more carefully, because I will not tolerate violations. Not here. Her fingers stabbed the air at the children, as though they were trespassers in their own neighborhood. No one realized it yet, but this single demand would ignite a battle that would shake the entire community. The playground wasn't just wood, metal, and mulch. To the children, it was a kingdom where scraped knees were badges of honor, and every swing pushed higher than the last was a victory. To the parents, it was a sanctuary, a place to breathe, to talk, to build friendships while their kids laughed under the sun. Karen's order threatened all of that. The HOA board had long been Karen's stage. She had sat on it for years, bending rules to her will, twisting bylaws until they became weapons. Fines, warnings, threats, everyone had seen it before. She thrived on control, on the power of her signature at the bottom of an HOA letter. But this time, the risk was greater. If parents allowed their kids back into the playground, they could face hundreds of dollars in fines. If they stayed away, their children would lose the only safe play space within walking distance. One mother leaned close to another, her voice trembling. She'll ruin us. She'll take everything if we fight back. Emotionally, the weight was crushing. Parents felt powerless, humiliated by a woman who seemed to take pleasure in dictating their lives. The children, too young to understand bylaws or property lines, only asked one heartbreaking question. Why doesn't she want us to play? The risk was money. The consequence was childhood itself. A week later, the sound of envelopes sliding into mailboxes echoed across the street. Official HOA letters, stamped and sealed. Inside, each one carried the same message: violation. Families were accused of breaking HOA Code 12.3. Subsection C. The clause was highlighted in neon yellow. Playground access restricted to approved residents only. Karen had written it herself. Parents sat around kitchen tables reading the letters in disbelief. The clause had never been enforced before. Most had never even heard of it. Yet here it was, weaponized against them. That same night, a laminated paper appeared on the playground gate. Violators will be fined $250. The ink was fresh, the handwriting unmistakably Karen's. At the bus stop, parents whispered nervously. What if she actually finds us? Can she do this? What if it gets worse? Fear spread quickly. Families stopped visiting the playground. The once busy swings now sat empty, rocking gently in the wind like ghosts of laughter. But Karen wasn't finished. Soon another letter circulated, this time claiming the children had damaged property and disturbed peace. It described broken swings, trampled grass, and complaints from neighbors, but everyone knew it wasn't true. The swings had been rusting long before summer. The grass had always been patchy, and not a single neighbor had actually complained. One father, Daniel, sat at his kitchen table, fists clenched around the letter. His jaw tightened as he read. This is fake. She's making this up. His wife placed a hand on his arm. Daniel, don't. But he was already on his feet. He stormed down the street, the letter crumpled in his hand. Knocking hard on Karen's door, he waited, chest rising and falling with anger. The door swung open. Karen appeared, lips pursed, sunglasses perched high, arms folded across her chest. You can't invent rules. Daniel's voice thundered. We all pay dues. Our kids live here. You don't get to decide who belongs. Karen tilted her head on. Rules are rules, Mr. Daniels. Break them again, and I'll call the police. Is that what you want? Police cars outside your house? She smiled thinly, then shut the door in his face. Word spread fast. Fear tightened its grip on the neighborhood. Play and risk fines, or stay silent and let their children's joy disappear. One evening, Daniel gathered neighbors in his garage. Folding chairs circled the workbench. A single bulb hung overhead, buzzing faintly. The air was heavy with frustration and quiet anger. This isn't about swings, Daniel said, his voice low but steady. It's about control. She's using fear. But we can fight back. The room was silent. A mother clutched her purse tighter. Fight back? How? She controls the board. She controls everything. Daniel's eyes narrowed. She controls that playground. But what if we built our own? Gasps filled the garage. Heads turned. The idea was absurd. A new playground. Impossible. And yet, in that moment, sparks of hope flickered in tired eyes. We have tools, another father said slowly. I have wood in my shop. I can help with concrete. A neighbor added. I can organize. Volunteers? Another whispered. And just like that, the impossible began to take shape. For weeks, after the sun dipped below the rooftops, parents worked in secret. The sharp ring of hammers echoed faintly through quiet streets. The smell of fresh-cut lumber filled the night air. Flashlights cast beams of light across the empty lot. They had chosen land that belonged to the city. Outside Karen's reach, children peeked from windows, watching as beams rose. Chains were fastened, and slides were assembled. Excitement bubbled in their eyes, though they whispered nervously, what if Karen finds out? Karen did find out. She appeared often on the sidewalks, arms crossed, phone in hand. She snapped photos, muttered threats, warned of legal action. But this time, no one flinched. The parents worked harder, faster. Then came the morning. The lot across the street, once an empty patch of weeds, now stood transformed. A playground twice the size of the original gleamed in the morning sun. Bright red slides curved down like rivers. Swings swayed gently, chains clinking in the breeze. A climbing wall stretched high, painted in bold colors. On opening day, families gathered. Children raced forward, laughter spilling into the air like a song. Their feet thudded against the new mulch as they scrambled up ladders and swung high into the sky. Karen stormed across the street, her voice shrill, her face flushed. This is illegal. You can't do this, she screamed, pointing at the parents. Daniel stepped forward, calm, steady, his arms crossed over his chest. This isn't HOA land. Karen, you have no power here. Her face drained of color, her mouth opened, then closed again. For the first time, she had no words. She turned sharply, storming back to her house, slamming the door so hard it rattled the frame. The children kept laughing, louder than ever before. Their joy drowned out her silence. Weeks passed. The old HOA playground sat abandoned. The swings rusted, the slide collected dust, and weeds crept through cracks in the mulch. It stood as a monument to Karen's failure. The new playground thrived. Every afternoon, the sound of laughter carried across the neighborhood. Parents gathered on benches, chatting freely without fear of fines. Children raced from swing to slide, their joy untouchable. Karen watched from her porch, bitterness etched into her face. She glared through the blinds as cars pulled up, families from nearby streets joining in. Her kingdom of control had crumbled, and all she could do was watch. Parents realized something powerful. Fear only works if you give it permission. Karen's reign had ended not with another letter, not with another threat, but with the sound of hammers, drills, and unity. The children never asked again why they weren't wanted. They had something better now. A playground built with love, standing as proof that community is stronger than control. And as Karen sat isolated on her porch, the neighborhood carried on, free, joyful, untouchable. Because when one voice tries to silence laughter, the best revenge is to make it louder.